Good evening. Welcome in Daily UPSC Today audio program. How India can escape the middle income trap. The Times of India. Dignity in death. Uh, Death cause life is precious. The Economic Times. Steady but slow. The Hindu. Now the full editorial. How India can escape the middle income trap. The Times of India. The key lies in a change in the economic mindset. We need to respect wealth creators. This applies to agriculture too, where the status quo only benefits a few. KV Kamath. The writer is the chairman of the National Bank of Financing, Infrastructure and Development and former CEO of ICICI Bank. In 1999, when ICICI was designing its retail strategy, we picked two youngsters fresh out of campus to work on this task. One of them was a lad from IIMC, Krishnamurthy Subramaniam. It is gratifying to see the youngster became a professor, assume the mantle of India's chief economic advisor during a difficult period for the global economy, and pen the optimism that I have passionately felt about the Indian economy in his new book India at 100. The retail strategy that we conceptualized then at ICICI helped spur the growth of India's consumer class, which now contribute about 60% of our GDP. The Indian economy has now charted new territory, especially during the pandemic, by outperforming all the advanced economies with consistent growth over 7% and strong macro fundamentals. The optimism that such outperformance has generated leads me to dream about the strength of our economy in our centennial year. At $55 trillion in 2047 is eminently possible. So Subramanian postulates a new growth construct for the nation. For the first time, we see an economist breaking free from the mold and mindset of 19th century economic theory, boldly envisaging a Viksit Bharat and or developed India by India's centennial year with GDP per capita equaling $40,000 per persuasively laying out his underlying theme. Subramanian argues that India needs to break free from the pessimistic cycles of the past and set bold targets underpinned by sound thinking. The inspiration for India's optimism stems from case studies of growth from the last 50 years, showcasing rapid transformations in economies like Japan, China, and South Korea. For instance, Japan's economy grew from to $215 billion to 5.15 trillion to 1970 and 1995. During this period, inflation declined from about 8% to around 1%, and interest rates saw a similar decline. The exchange rate is strengthened from approximately 350 yen to 85 yen per dollar. Japan also became the innovation hub of the world. China's growth trajectory demonstrates a similar trend. Rapid growth through India becoming a developed economy by 2047 is indeed possible if we discard pessimism. So, how do we achieve a 55 trillion economy by 2047? Subramanian argues that an 8% long-term growth rate is feasible, coupled with 5% inflation and 0.5% currency depreciation. Currency depreciation, with which itself stems from lower inflation leading to lower depreciation of the currency. This result in an overall GDP growth rate of 12.5% is equal to 8.5 to 8.5 minus 0.5 in US dollars. According to the rule of 72, this implies that GDP would double approximately every 6 years over the 24-year period from 2003 to 2047. The doubling every 6 years would enable GDP to grow about 16 times from $3.28 trillion in 2023 to 55 trillion in dollar in 2047. This is eminently doable. India's growth can be not only high but also inclusive if we base it on four pillars that will shape Atmanirbhar Bharat at 100. These pillars are macroeconomic focus on growth, social and economic inclusion to build a large middle class in ethical wealth creation by the private sector, a virtuous cycle ignited by private investment. As high growth has sharply reduced poverty, our macroeconomic focus must be on implementing policies to generate high growth. Social and economic inclusion through high quality jobs enables the benefits of high growth to spread far and wide, thereby generating the necessary democratic support for statutory economic policies. The emphasis on markets and ethical wealth creation as the third pillar captures the refreshing change in economic mindset towards respecting wealth creators for the telling contribution they make. Finally, as the experience of every country that has registered high growth demonstrate, private investment is the engine that can drive a virtuous cycle. In this path to Viksit Bharat, India can certainly avoid the middle income trap. For this purpose, Subramanian emphasizes the need to gradually eliminate subsidies and protectionism, drive manufacturing and exports, and implement reforms to ease economic activity. He calls for an agrarian renaissance by highlighting that the status quo only benefits a few. Therefore, agri reform must create a coalition of small farmers as the uh, Labharthis or key beneficiaries of reform. The digital bridges that has been established can be built further by leveraging the digital public infra that has transformed the country. Over the next 24 years, India must become an innovative hub driven by private investment and a various investment cycle. Given the progress made in recent years, India benefits from clean and strong balance sheet in both the corporate and banking sectors along with strong cash flows. India at 100 persuasively outlines the path forward to a Viksit Bharat in refreshing detail. By pursuing this path, India can certainly rub shoulders with the top economy in the world in 2047. This once in centuries opportunity thus herald India's Amritkal. Dignity in death cause life is precious. The Economic Times. Government of India issued draft guidelines for assisted withdrawal of life support for terminally ill patient for public consultation is a welcome move for a patient and his and her loved ones. The decision to cease treatment to allay suffering when all other avenues are considered closed is a difficult one. Doctors have always let patients and their families know when treatment is futile, even before the latest draft guidelines were drawn up. Such medical advice can feel arbitrary, encouraging family members to seek out second or third opinions and alternatives. So, the decision on if and when to pull the plug needs to be taken when medical care becomes futile, something for the medical practitioners to decide and for him and her to share with patient family for them to take a call. Safeguards that this bridge of communication is authentic must be placed. The proposed two-panel system creates a double-checking mechanism. It creates accountability for doctors and hospitals when they inform a patient and their family that there is nothing more than medicine can do for them. The guidelines give the patient family legal guardian the legal space to make an informed choice. The drafts reference to economic burden and statements on better use of medical resources create a sense of unease. Safeguards must be built in to ensure that hospitals do not use it as a loophole to provide unnecessary extended treatment to those who can pay. Hope must not be abused. Alongside a system of long-term care facilities should be set up for those who do not wish to terminate life-sustaining treatments, even as malified parties may encourage assisted death for the wrong reasons. Life is precious, which makes it more important that there is dignity in death. Steady but slow. The Hindu. India's space program needs a more resource to realize its full potential. In July, NASA cancelled its volatile investigating polar exploration rover Viper mission to the moon after the development was beset by delays and cost has ballooned. By this time, its engineers had fully assembled it and completed some tests, but NASA held its ground. The sudden decision dismayed scientists. Viper has designed to map the distribution of water ice in the moon's south pole region and the soil in which it occurred. Over 3 months in all, the golf cart-sized rover was to be launched by a SpaceX Falcon Heavy heavy rocket and deployed using Astrobotics Giffen lander, all managed through NASA's Commercial Lunar Payload Services program. Landing on the moon is an expensive, time-consuming exercise. NASA's decision to cancel Viper is at this late stage thus drew the attention of the US House Committee on Science, Space and Technology and the wider international community, which sees in Viper's absence and opportunity for China's increasingly complex lunar program to lead the way. The world's rush back to the moon offers potentially significant commercial and geopolitical gains. Viper was expected to be a pivotal component of the US-led lunar axis defined by the Artemis Accord, which counts India among its leaders. Yet India missed a trick when, on September 18, the Union Cabinet approved a proposal by the Indian Space Research Organisation (ISRO) to begin the second phase of the country's lunar program with Chandrayaan-4, a sample return mission. Moments after the Chandrayaan-3 descended on the moon's surface on August 23, 2023, reports erupted to claim India has yet again admitted itself into a small elite group of countries that have achieved an autonomous lunar soft landing. But such proclamations overlook the considerable gaps between these countries' space agencies from an operations perspective. One pertinent difference is that ISRO is unable to execute multiple flagship missions in parallel. Instead, it follows a one major mission at a time cadence that, in exchange for maximizing resource use efficiency, leaves an organization incapable of maneuvering rapidly to respond to new opportunities. Had it been able, ISRO could have sought the cabinet's approval for the lunar polar exploration mission it is planning with its Japanese counterpart to land a rover on the moon to perform many of the crucial tasks. Viper has expected to, especially prospecting for larger water ice deposits. Even now, the Piper incident should remind the center that despite an expanding allocation and new funding modes in the of link, the Indian space program needs more resources to realize its full potential. Thank you.